On May 1st, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket achieved its 6th launch. This time, however, there was no attempt to recover any stage. If you ask yourself why, or what was its cargo, stay tuned, because in this episode of Spaceflight News, we will explore the details of the launch, the payload, and also the US Arab spacewalk, as well as the engine test for the SLS rocket. The Falcon Heavy launch had been postponed multiple times, last time due to high winds. Therefore, SpaceX has shifted the launch to the very end of the launch window. Finally, the 1st of May at 0:26 Universal Time, 27 Merlin rocket engines ignited on Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Engines full power, and liftoff of Viasat 3. Go Viasat, go Falcon Heavy.
On the 5 previous Falcon Heavy launches, SpaceX had attempted to recover at least some stages. However, this time, the rocket had no landing legs or grid fins. The absence of stage recovery attempts was due to the demanding flight profile. The launch vehicle's task was to deliver almost 7 metric tons directly to the geostationary orbit. All the propellant in the tanks had to be used to accelerate the rocket with its payload, leaving no margin for stage recovery.
That's where we will shut down the engines on the side boosters, and then we will separate the side boosters from the center core. And as a reminder,
the central stage was brand new, while one side booster had flown on Falcon Heavy twice before. The other has much more interesting history. After 2 launches on Falcon Heavy, it had been converted to the first stage of Falcon 9, carrying several batches of Starlink satellites, or the South Korean lunar probe Danuri. Then it symbolically ended its operation on Falcon Heavy once more.
in a few seconds.
MVAC engine chill has started.
The second stage reached a parking orbit with its first burn, and the second burn stretched that orbit into an ellipse. After 4 hours and 20 minutes, the third burn finally rounded the orbit. Following pre-planned checks, cargo separation sequence began with the primary payload, the roughly 6.5-ton Viasat-3 America's communications satellite, being the first to detach. The second was the 22-kilogram US-Ukrainian CubeSat GSat-1, carrying French equipment for tracking space debris and Indonesian equipment for maintaining a communications frequency. Lastly, the 300-kilogram Arcturus satellite, the first creation of Astranus, was released. The Astranus company aims to manufacture light geostationary telecommunication satellites weighing up to 350 kilograms, and this first one is intended to provide communications in the region of Alaska. On April 28th, another spacewalk took place on the ISS. Stephen Bowen of the United States and Sultan Al Nayadi of the United Arab Emirates exited the Quest airlock, and Nayadi became the first Arab in history to venture outside spacecraft into open space. The astronauts were preparing wiring for installation of new photovoltaic panels and attempting to dismantle a communications antenna, though this was unsuccessful due to a stuck bolt. On April 26th, an interesting static fire of RS-25 rocket engine occurred at the Stennis Space Center. This test lasted 12 minutes, rather than the usual 8.5 minutes, and tested the engine's nozzle vectoring, or tilt, which will be used during the flight of the SLS rocket to keep the launch vehicle flying in the right direction. To commemorate our channel's small anniversary, we would like to thank our audience for their continued support. 6 months ago, on November 1st, 2022, the first video was released on this channel, and we have been releasing 6 videos per week since then. We are immensely grateful for the audience base that has been built around our channel and which continues to grow. Here's to the next 6 months.